So hey guys, it's me Jack here, and welcome back to another episode of World of Tanks. This time we're going to be doing a review of the IS-6, the Tier 8 Russian premium heavy tank. This tank costs 11,800 gold, and in my opinion it's worth it because of the great characteristics that this tank has that I'm about to tell you. It has the second highest DPM of any Tier 8 premium tank, after of course the KV-5 with the IS-6 gun. It has very good alpha damage of 390. It has premium matchmaking, which means that this tank, cannot face Tier 10 tanks because it would be kind of useless against them. Now the armor, on paper, looks absolutely terrible. 100mm at the front and sides, 60 at the rear, and then 150 at the front, 150 at the side. I guess that's not too bad, and 100 at the rear, but you expect that at the back of the turret. And that's what made me very skeptical about buying this tank, to be honest. And then, what I have decided to do it anyway because of the good reviews it got. And what you'll find is, this armor all around, excluding the turret, is extremely well sloped. If you look at it, if you angle your tank and someone fires at the upper plate, almost maybe already a no bounce zone, perhaps, because I know the auto bounce is at like 70 degrees. So if you have your tank like this, someone fires here, bounce, someone fires there, bounce, someone fires there, you'll need a high caliber gun to penetrate it. And even if someone fires at the side of your tank, you can see that there's still a lot of angling. So if you do that, they'll probably still bounce off. And we'll see how the angle holds up, and the armor in general, against some other tanks in Tier 8 replays that I've got lined up later on. So we'll go over the rest of the pros and cons quickly. Being a premium tank, it does have very good credit profit. It has pretty good mobility for a Tier 8 premium tank, especially if you have tanks like the T-34, or the Lerva, or the KV-5, which is very good. And also, if you are going up the Russian heavy tank line, the IS line, the crew slots do match the same as, say, the IS, or the IS-3, or the IS-8. However, it doesn't match the crew of the IS-7, which is annoying. There's two loaders, unfortunately, in the IS-7. So let's go over some of the cons quickly. It has quite a low ammunition capacity, you will see. And also, the ammunition costs 1,025 credits apiece. And the premium ammunition, which you will be using in this tank, unfortunately, does cost 4,800 credits apiece. The gun penetration is only 175, so you will have to aim for weak points. And also, if we look at the stats of the gun, the accuracy at 0.46 and the aim time at 0.34 is positively Russian. And obviously, one of the downsides of this tank is that it cannot train the crew of your IS-7. So now let's go over some of the performance characteristics of this tank. So most people who played this tank along with, say, the IS line, and I have done that on the test server, the IS-6 is basically an IS that has been moved to Tier 8. It plays very similarly to that tank, but it does trade off some of the mobility of the IS for a lot better armor. This 122mm D30 is, in all aspects, the same gun that is the top gun on the IS, the D25T. It is the exact same penetration, the exact same accuracy, the exact same aim time, all of which are quite below average. Using the gun at ranges above 300 meters requires a lot of patience because the gun takes a long time to fully aim in. And even then, the gun will troll you and just miss. It works best at medium to close ranges. However, the rate of fire and alpha damage are very good. And at shorter ranges, the IS-6 can use its superior damage output to its advantage, especially if you're facing something like the T-34 or the Löwe. If for equipment, I reckon an enhanced gun lane drive and a vertical stabilizer as well. So a vertical stabilizer would cost you 600,000 and enhanced gun lane drive would cost you 500,000. But the limited capacity of only 30 rounds and because you have such a high rate of fire will mean that you will run out of ammunition, unfortunately. You should probably take your shots with care in this tank. The IS-6 has very good armor protection relative to other Tier 8 premiums. Unlike the KV-5, which it relies on raw armor thickness and large amounts of health to protect you. The IS-6 relies on its sloped armor to bounce incoming enemy fire. It also lacks the distinct weak points that the KV-5 has. You'll see that there is no large Radio Man's turret sticking out the top of this tank. Although the driver's hatch here can be considered a weak point, while not nearly as thick as the T-34's turret, and it's not shaped like the turret of the Löwe, the IS-6 is pretty well protected when it comes to the turret, and it does have better side armor actually than most tanks. Angling and side scraping will really boost this tank's survivability, especially think the side armor is so thick at 150 millimeters. There is also a bit of spaced armor you'll see here that covers the hull sides, and it generally stops hits that might be able to penetrate that area. The rear of the turret and the hull are pretty useless, but you do expect that, so that's what you expect when you drive any tank, really. This tank is probably the best at reacting to changes on the battlefield. Well, I say that, but yet I haven't played the FCM-50T, which is the French heavy tank with a very good horsepower to ton ratio. I guess this is probably the second best tank at reacting to changes on the battlefield. It has very decent mobility, if that makes it very decent, and it gives it a lot of flexibility that other Tier 8 premium tanks just don't have. However, if you compare this to the IS-3, the IS-3 does have better mobility. The mobility combined with the good armor and the acceptable gun means that the IS-6 can get close where the gun will be most effective. As a Tier 8 premium tank, the IS-6 will make you a very large amount of credits. However, the expensive ammunition, especially when shooting APCR, can cut the profits quite noticeably. And that's basically it. One last little note, in the game files, the IS-6 is known as the Object 252, which is quite interesting. I'm not sure why they didn't decide to call the tank that. But basically we'll go over the last stats of the tank. 5.13 rounds a minute. Let's look at the KV-5. The KV has 7. We'll look at the T-34. I know the T-34 for a fact has 4 rounds a minute, which is terrible. The turret traverse speed is 24 degrees per second. It's alright. The traverse speed of the tank is 26 degrees a second, which is pretty good if you compare that to the T-34's 22, and then the turret traverse of 18, which is hideous. This is where the tank suffers slightly. The view range is only 350 meters, and the signal range is only 440, which means that you will need to be a frontline brawler tank in this. And because this tank has preferential matchmaking, that will happen actually, which is very nice. So there you have it, guys. That's the IS-6. I'll quickly go over some crew skills for you. If we just look at my crew here. So on the loader, I would have Adrenaline Rush just to increase the speed at the end of this tank's life. I'd probably have Off-Road Driving to increase this thing's mobility even more. For the gunner, I would have Snapshot, and for the commander, I would have Recon. However, the commander also doubles as the radio operator, and I think that's basically it. The commander does double as the radio operator, which means that you'll have to load 2 skills on him after you've learned your commander one. So after that little summary there, guys, I'm going to take it into a replay and I'll show you guys how this thing performs. So here we are at the very first replay, guys. This is the first game I ever played in the IS-6, and you can see it's an all tier 8 matchup as far as top tier goes. There's another IS-6 on the enemy team. However, there are a lot of tier 7s as well. Right, so I'll just turn the volume down actually. So as you can see, the IS-6 has very decent mobility, as you'll find. The gun depression is completely Russian. You can see that this ARL-44 doesn't really know what he's doing. But you can see going up this slope here, rubbing against the ARL, you'll get up to about 20 kilometers per hour, which is very acceptable in terms of a heavy tank. As I said, gun depression is Russian and leaves a lot to be desired. So now you're going to see how this tank faces other tier 8 tanks. So that KV-1S just zoomed into the back of my tank there, and I'm thinking, what are you doing? You might want to look behind you, mister. There seems to be an ISU-152. So he's very lucky that the ISU didn't shoot him there. I get a snapshot off onto him for 433 damage. I wouldn't recommend doing that. You can see I got my first bounce there, and I'm waiting for the reload here. Bang! Take out the Jagdpanzer IV there. However, I do take a penetrating hit from lots of different sides here, and that is because I do the cardinal sin of this tank, and I don't angle my armor properly. So you can see that 2 shots penetrated my turret, and that seems to be where I took all the fire from. That Tiger P managed to get a shot into the belly of my tank, which is very lucky. So I'm on 797 damage, and having taken those hits, I'm a bit more worried about this tank. I'm thinking, oh god, is the armor not that good? But I think to myself, well, this is a proper test, so let's make it a proper test. Let's YOLO and do some damage, and see how things turn out. So I start zooming down this hill, we spot a Hellcat, and you can see that the speed of this tank is very good downhill. It really allows you to change position quickly. Wow, we had a big lag spike there quickly. So there's the Hellcat. I'm popping up on him. I've got an HE shell ready as backup. Bang! 459 damage. I'm thinking, Mr. Hellcat, good night. Just ram him to death. So I'm on 1,300 damage. So here we've come behind the rear flank of a T-32 and an IS-3. So the T-32 dies because, well, he's been flanked. There's nothing he can do. So bang, take a shot, 308 damage, finish him off. I'm on 4 kills already in this IS-6, and I'm loving the rate of fire of this tank. It's very good. It provides a lot of flexibility to this tank. You can really battle about. So I take a snapshot there. Wouldn't recommend doing that in this tank, as I said, but I knew that KV-1S was going to die before I could get there, and he's chasing after somebody, and the ARL's about to ram him. And the ARL's about to get him, and boom! ARL gets ammo-racked by the KV-1S, but I take him out just afterwards. So I'm on 2k damage, the KV-1S is laughing about that. I would be, I just ammo-racked an ARL with 44. So then we spot the artillery and the Comet, and the ARL's like, what? How did you do that? I don't know. And you'll see that I accidentally drive forward too much there, but I think I must feed me your Top Gun. So I'm running down here, trying to get a shot on the Comet. There he is. Come on, come on, come on. And I get him! I managed to take a snapshot there. Not really a snapshot, but the tank was wobbling about a lot, so I managed to shoot him there. So I've done 2k damage, and I've taken a few hits. You can see that this tank is very, very mobile. That's the key strength of this tank. So there's a T-43 and an IS-6 left. So the game is completely over at this point, but I'm like, feed me your damage. So I'm running towards them to try and get some more damage off. So we're charging towards them here. You can see that I wouldn't be able to do this in, say, the T-34. I take a quick shot at that IS-6 there without letting it aim. It seems that the 8.7 patch to the Russian accuracy has really helped this tank, due to the fact that I can do things such as this, where I just wait at the corner without having to have it fully aimed, and unfortunately I missed that shot there, but it didn't go towards the edge of the circle. And the game is almost over now. You can see that, there we go, he's been taken out. Type 59 finishes him off. And so that's the replay. Let's go and see if we can get some endplate, guys. So here we are at the first endplate, guys. You can see that I earned 83,295 credits and 3,074 experience. That is doubled. I got myself a second class mastery badge and a top gun. I also got the sharpshooter medal. You can see that I damaged a large amount of enemy tanks. My hit percent was 80%, which in this tank isn't bad. And I managed to deal 2,485 damage. It took me to top of the team with 1,000 base experience, and 6 kills, of course, which meant I got a top gun. And if we look at the detailed report here, you can see that I took 6 hits, received a potential damage of 1,850, which is enough to kill this tank. And I also did 367 spotting damage, which is nice. You can see that whilst resupplying the ammunition and repairing the vehicle doesn't cost them very much, it did reduce my total to 67,000 credits. You can see that, I'm not entirely sure what that maximum thing means there, but obviously that means something. So in total I got 3,074 experience, as you can see. And all in all, this has been a very good, I think this has been a very good example of how this tank plays. I don't think there needs to be another replay for this, guys. So thank you very much for watching. My name has been Jack. Please like, comment, rate, and subscribe, and keep your eyes open for more World of Tanks videos soon. Bye.